Well, here we are in the second week of July, and we had a whole lot of interest in the video that we did of our sowing season, so I thought we'd do a little update here mid-summer. We are in zone 5A, and here's our original bed that had kale and lettuce. We've got the corn has taken its place, watermelon in between. Got that sown from seed a little late. This is those kohlrabi that we'll be harvesting very soon. You can see just the size of these guys. They got huge, doing really well. The chard was from that original planting, and it's about to be done as well. We have Blue Lake beans that are going to grow all the way up the rack, probably across the top. Monte Cristos were sown a couple weeks later, so they're further behind. We've got our a variety of tomatoes. The flower in the front is borage. It's a bee attractor. You can see right there, actually. We've got 10 different tomato varieties. We're trying a whole bunch here. We've done some interplanting, companion planting with the marigolds in front, and then the beets have come up in their full swing. See that down the middle is elephant garlic, and then here's some standard garlic. It's all just about ready to come out of the ground. Carrots mingled around some sweet peppers, and I've actually been pretty pleased with this one. This is a perpetual spinach. It's actually a chard, but the variety name is perpetual spinach. It's a bit more mild than your typical chards are, and does have a little bit of a spinach hint to it, so that's been nice. I got some runner beans that are gonna go up the fencing here. And then we've tried a new broccoli Rob. It's a cutting broccoli, so it just gets small florets. It's been kind of hard to keep up with though, because it produces so quickly, but it seems about every 3 days I can get a full handful. Now that, and that's off 4 plants. And now that we've been in really hot conditions in the 90s during the day, 50s at night, for the last couple of weeks, and so it started to get pretty bitter. So I'm considering actually re-sowing and trying to get a fall crop out of it. We got some more garlic down the middle, onions in between the broccolis. Here's just one regular broccoli plant coming up. The idea with putting the onions and garlic in there is we tend to have a lot of cabbage moths, and this seems to be really effective compared to what we had last year. We'll see over the next couple of weeks, but actually there's a cabbage moth right there over at the kale, or sorry, at the kohlrabi. Little guy flitting around. They land, seems like every time they land, they're laying an egg, and we end up with all these worms that just eat and decimate the crop. So hopefully that'll, I haven't seen really any damage so far because of that companion planting, I think is the case. My son wanted to do a tomatillo. He likes those, so here's his. It's doing real well. We threw some flowers in the garden with the veggies this time. And then our hot peppers are down here. We got a good one going. And then part of our companion things is our rabbit in there. That's an ice jug in front of him. But he's just a family pet that adds some good fertilizer. We got some very far along radishes that we probably won't eat because they're too far gone. But they're coming around the cabbage. Again, onions to try and deter another cabbage there. Also, dill is a good companion for the cole crops. And then over on this bed here, got bunches of cucumber. Plants are looking really good. I'm gonna thin them out. Probably half of these will be cut out now that they're established so much. They're kind of growing into each other, and I don't want things to fill out too far. Across the middle here we got some carrots, of course. Our zucchini plant is just going crazy. He's gotten huge. I'll lift it up high. You can see this how big he's gotten. And we got just beautiful flowers. Got some baby zucchini started in there. I think a few more days we'll start harvesting those. A yellow squash on the side. Now, a fun thing we did this time was this kale, these 3 kale plants here, actually, this is lamb's quarters. It's a wild edible. It's probably coming up in your garden. You can eat this. It gets kind of strong flavored at this stage once it's got the seeds, but beforehand it's quite good in salad raw. But these kale plants here, you can see they're just doing great. They are actually from that original bed that we transplanted them across, and the same we did with which is now bolting my my lettuce here. This is a Paris Island Cos, I think. It's romaine style with the red tips. But all of these lettuces here and those 3 kales were all on that original bed. To move them, pruned them back really heavy, so there was just some leaves about this size here, just a few tiny ones in the middle, and then that way when we dig them up and all those roots are cut, the whole plant doesn't die. If you leave a lot of large leaves when you try and transplant something like that, then the plant will go into shock and you'll lose the whole thing. And then we also have just some leaf lettuce, excuse me, a salad bowl on that side, and then I can't remember what we did on this one. We tried different ones a lot. I like the salad bowl and whatever I did here. That's funny, because it's pretty mild and it doesn't have that bitterness. And then we got a couple of Hubbard squash, and my thought is as they start to vine, they'll be able to run down this space that the potato vines, you see all the potatoes are falling over, which is normal. They're going to start drying up, and then we'll be harvesting the potatoes after all the vines have dried. And kind of the idea is that the squash will be able to take in that space. Our asparagus, got a few fronds coming up above the weeds here, you can see. And this is all the lamb's quarters. Leaving all of this, one, because I don't think it's really competing too much with the asparagus, but also it provides a haven for good bugs, you know, spiders and all that sort of thing, and keeps everything in the main part of the garden from getting attacked. Is kind of the hope. So, and then switching over to the other end, the far end here, we got our second set of potatoes, again all fallen over. These are the all blues, and the previous batch I showed were the Yukon Golds. And then we have a variety of beans, some Anderson beans. They're a 300-year-old variety that was in a family, so some friends of ours. We didn't have real great success in some of the germination, so I'm not sure what we might have done there. And then we've got some soldier beans. Right here in the middle is actually going to be parsnips. You can see they're just itty bitty babies right now. They just take a really long time to germinate. Some half runners going to go up the post. And then let's see, what else do we have here? Can't remember. Good Mother Stallard, and I don't know where my other label went. Oh, here it is, all covered in the dirt. Oh, and Tiger Eyes. Those are just really pretty. The little wire racks here were originally for peas, but planted them too late. It got too hot, and so we have some pretty poor yields, meaning I haven't gotten any yet. So we'll sow those again and try and get a fall crop out of it. So there you go. That's the garden tour here midsummer, and we'll see how the rest of the season plays out for us, and we're trying to discover what we want to replace, you know, once we harvest some of these things, what we want to fill in the space, try and get you know, 2 crops out of some of the zones that we have here in the garden. Yeah, hope you enjoy, and it's been informative and helpful.